And one of the things that they helped us do was our screen game. And that's going to be the focus of this presentation. We became, through the years at Carleton, a much more high volume screen team than when we started. In 2021, we kind of did what everybody else did. We called, one screen a game, maybe two screens a game. Told ourselves we were just going to slow down the pass rush once or twice, tried to time them up really well. And there's nothing wrong with that approach. We had a couple really explosive plays doing it that way. But for a couple of reasons, we decided to make a big investment in our screen game as the years went on. The first one was we wanted to be able to control our touches better. So when we went back and looked at our seasons in 21 and 22, despite the fact that we had success, we had won games, we had scored points, we'd broken some records, we weren't doing a very good job as coaches of utilizing our personnel well. So over the years at Carleton, though we had some backs who were great kids and solid football players, they weren't bad football players by any means. They were solid football players. The strength of our roster was normally the receiver room. We had some really good receivers through the years. We had a kid most recently who was kind of a tight end receiver hybrid that was an All-American. But if we went back and looked at our touches, and this is 2021 right here, in 2021, if you look at the scale of touches to talent, our number one touch guy was our first string running back. For obvious reasons. He was the first string running back. He got the majority of the carries. You're trying to be a balanced 50-50 operation. And so in an 80-play game, he might get 30 touches if you run the ball 40 times, if you're 50-50 about it. The problem with that was he was really just a starter level player. He was a great kid, did a lot of things well, but he wasn't a difference maker kind of a player. If you look ahead a little bit more, our second highest touch guy was our second string running back for all the same reasons. And he was there's a reason he wasn't the starter, right? Great kid, did a lot of things well. Hope he never sees this video. Really wasn't a starter level player. And then our third running back still had almost as many touches as our first receiver. And he was really just an average level player. Our number one receiver and our number two receiver, who were both either all league or close to all league type players, were getting the ball as much or less than our second and third string running backs just because of the nature of the position they played. It was tougher to get receivers the ball because in the drop back pass game, the ball kind of goes where it goes and the coverage really determines who ends up getting it. It's tougher to script touches in the drop back pass game. So the running backs in 2021 had 220% more touches than the receivers. In 2022, they had 166% more. So we righted the ship a little bit, but our number one running back still by far and away had the most touches. Our number two running back still had by far and away more touches than any receiver, but we at least got our top receivers touching the ball more than our third best running back. And then in 2023, when we really made the investment in the screen game, that leveled it out for us because we started to truly view screens as runs. They were just runs where we got to pick the ball carrier. So now in 2023, the running back room was actually minus 14%, which that's about as close to even to being balanced as you're going to get. It's never going to be perfectly balanced. The receivers got a few more touches than the running backs did, but 14% is not a very big number. So that's really more in line with the sort of balance that we're looking for. We never really worried so much about being 50-50 run pass. We became much more concerned over the years with touches and balancing out touches and making sure that the guys who were the furthest on this graph this way were also the furthest on this graph this way. And you can see in 2023, we really started to achieve that. You start to get a better cluster here of the most talented kids on our team also touching the ball the most. So that's the first reason that we really liked screen games, because we were able to, in our minds, still run the ball, but control better who was getting it. So if you look here, turn my annotations on. If you look here at this play, we're going to run just a little outside run to the right. And this is going to be a perfectly fine play for the record. We accomplish everything that we really wanted to. We get a skill guy delivered to a safety. We got the front seven blocked for the most part. I know there's a little bit of leakage here on number 29. But we got the front level, the front seven blocked, and we're going to deliver our skill guy to a safety. He's going to be one-on-one in the open field with their safety. And sometimes they'll win that battle, and sometimes we'll win that battle. But when you're getting the ball to your best players, more often than not, we win that battle. The problem is here, we were getting the ball to a more average player. Perfectly fine player, but not really a difference maker. And so instead of taking a situation that looks like this, if I just freeze frame it right here, and I told you we've got one-on-one with a safety in the alley, most offensive coaches would look at that picture and say, awesome, we're going to make the first guy miss, and we're going to make 5 or 6 yards on this play. And the problem was, because we weren't directing the touches well enough, because we were so concerned with being 50-50 run-pass balanced, we would get tackled in this situation a lot. Juxtapose that with this screen right here. So we're going to get lead blockers out in front, offensive linemen out in front. For all intents and purposes, here's the football. It's traveling on a path like this. We're getting O-line blocking out in front with a lead blocker. If I just told you that, this is outside zone. This is outside zone. We're getting the ball wide with the offensive line and a lead blocker in front. This is outside zone. All we've done, though, is we've controlled the touch better. Instead of getting it to a running back, we're giving the ball to one of our best players. And now, a play that, if you were throwing this to a lesser player, should have been busted. Okay, I want to make this clear. The only thing good about the coaching job on this clip is that we threw the ball to our best player. We're not executing super well here. There's 3 white jerseys that should make this play. But because we were able to steer the touch to one of our best players, he does what your best players do. Here's another example of what I'm talking about. So we're actually going to get a really good run here. I'm very happy with the run that we get, but I think it'll still illustrate the point well. So we're going to run inside zone to the left here off a little bit of tempo, and you're going to see our running back. We got the whole line going that way. They're going to cave things down. He's going to cut it back in that backside C gap. Things go really well here, right? We get it washed all the way down. They wrong arm the split flow. Awesome. 21 jump cuts behind it. And we find ourselves in this situation. We've sent the whole O-line this way. And we've got this nice open alley for him to run in. Perfectly good play here. We make 12 yards. I'm not complaining about any of that. The point I'll make, though, is one of the best players on our rosters would have scored here. This guy, great kid, did a lot of things well. Explosive touchdowns weren't really his game. And so he gets tackled. If you take a very similar play, and we'll watch this from the end zone angle, we're going to send the whole O-line to the right. We're going to get the ball into the backside C gap after everything collapses down. And we're going to have the ball in a nice, big, wide alley. The difference in this picture is we've gotten the ball to one of our best players. And your best players score. Nothing wrong with the previous run. We'll take 12-yard runs all the live long day. But these are the same play. We're sending the offensive line down. We're getting the ball in the backside C gap. But now we're able to control the touch a little bit better and control the target a little bit better and get the ball to one of our best players. And now we score instead of just getting a first down. We get a touchdown.